And I will say we are very happy to have you here,
Thank
Veronica.
you.
Very welcome. Please see.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Thank you for the invitation to speak to the entrepreneurial ecosystem and all of you out there. And well, I'm going to speak first about my company, and then some projects that I work with, and some things that I learned on the way. And you are welcome to contact Mats or me if you have any questions later on. We are going to have a Q&A after the speech. Okay, then I will
Yeah.
go ahead. First, I will introduce myself. I'm Veronica Chiaravalli. I have my company Emerging Technology Sweden based in Stockholm. I work remotely. I started my company in 2015. And well, you will see more here in the slide. So I will start the presentation. Okay, let's see now. Do you see the slides?
Yes, yes.
Okay, this is the first slide. Okay, so my website address is exponentialtext.com. I founded my company in 2015. My massive transformative purpose, the purpose is the moon, Mars, and beyond. We are civilization one, pioneering innovation across frontiers, visionary leadership, research, and strategic foresight, solving global grand challenges, building resilient enterprises, and empowering pioneers, explorers, and space entrepreneurs. It's an exponential organization. We have a remote work culture, and I'm solving three challenges: the gender gap, the knowledge gap, and the challenges regarding space. Okay, well, um, I started with robotics workshops when I started my company. And so I bought this little robot from the UK, and I started teaching robotics for a mixed group of people, how to build a little robot with lights that goes along the floor, and we had this PDF file, and I had a consultant helping me, and that was one workshop that I had. The other workshop that I gave was to learn, programming, and it was for kids, and the idea there was to include also their parents. So they came with their parents. I mean, the parents came with their kids, and I was surprised to see that some parents came with three, four kids, which was unexpected, but it was good. And it was a creative class where they learned Scratch programming, and they came out with some very interesting things. No? Well, I worked a lot with research and innovation, and some things that I found on the way was Barbara Oakley's course, Learning How to Learn. And here I am sending you the link to uh, a YouTube channel there that includes a video about her story. When she started out, she liked languages a lot, but she thought that she wasn't very good for math. So she started studying Russian, and she was working for the military. And then all of a sudden, she had to learn some technical things, and well, uh, that's how it started for her, right? And then she became interested in neuroscience, and she studied it, and and she finally became, I think, a professor in engineering. And then she tells this story about her journey, and what she learned about the mind, how the brain works. And this is very interesting because this uh, connects very much with my story, because I never liked math, for example, and I also had the same belief as she had. And but I had a similar experience as Barbara. And when I started with my research, I understood that the main reason for this gender gap that we have is the mindset. I came to that conclusion from many different angles, things that I came across. And when I found her video, it connected with everything. I connected the dots there. And I did the course, by the way. They have one for youth and one for adults. And you can find it on Coursera, and it's free. Um, well, I learned the Pomodoro technique from this course. And it means that, for example, let's say you have difficult subjects. I mean, you can use the Pomodoro technique for anything. It's a good study technique, by the way, but especially when you have difficult subjects. And for example, you dedicate 25 minutes to study a subject, and you focus on that. You turn off the TV, anything, all distractions, and then you focus 25 minutes, and then after those 25 minutes you take a pause and you give yourself a reward, which can be, I don't know, maybe surfing on the internet, checking your messages, I don't know, listening to some music, right? Going out for a walk. Going out for a walk is very good. Exercise has a good effect on the brain. And then, you go on, studying. Another important thing is when people think that when they underline what they are studying, they think that they have it in their brain, but that's not true. It's not enough by underlying what you read. You have to reflect upon what you have read, and then you have to, like, quizzes are good, but you have to reflect and ask yourself things. Try to see if you have it, you have memorized it, right? Because first we have our working brain, and prefrontal cortex. So it's here in the beginning, and that's our working memory. And but then afterwards it gets to the rest of the memory, right? And after we sleep, the brain continues working, and that's when things, either disappear or stay there. So sleep is very important as well. And this is good because this has to do with the study technique, right? What I'm getting at is that we all have the potential to learn. We can learn whatever we want. And this is also called the growth mindset. This is very important. There is no problem with women regarding math and programming and all that. No, we have the capacity to learn everything. It's just that we have to change this mindset that limits us, that this mindset, this belief that we cannot do it, that's not true. Well, during my journey, my research and everything, I created an innovation, which is the Pioneering Space Entrepreneurship Training Program. And I presented it at ALMI, and it was approved. And this is what I'm going to launch soon. Let's see. Well, um, one of the things that inspired me when I built my company was Singularity University. First, I started out going to several meetup groups, right? I was looking for a job and studying, and it was so hard to get into the job market. They turned me down a million times, I can tell you. And so I was just going to meetups and with a curious mind, and learning from other entrepreneurs. I was not an entrepreneur in the beginning, of course. I was just going to meetups, but I learned a lot from these people. And I went to Google Tech, to the Impact Hub, to Spotify, and many, many more. I was sitting with the programmers. We had these hack nights where we took our laptop and sat there and had pizza and drinks and networked and just sat with our laptop and, and did our work, whatever. And this was very nice. And um and I was going to lots of meetups. I was really, really a networker then. And then there was one particular meetup group. It was the Singularity University meetup in Stockholm. I was there, and it was just one of these meetups, but then this one really changed my life. They had this presentation and talking about exponential technologies, and I was amazed. It just blew me away. And they talked about the drones and how the drones were delivering food to far away places, and how they could um, with thanks to 3D printing, they could 3D print spare parts for spaceships, things that had gotten, that had broken down. So instead of going back to Earth, they could 3D print it, and how that saved them a lot of money and time and effort. And I was just sitting there amazed, and I just fell in love with it. And I said to myself, I want to work with this. I am going to work with exponential technologies. And at that moment, I didn't know how I was going to do it because I wasn't an engineer or anything, but I just knew I was going to do it. And so that was one thing that really changed my life. And the other thing is the book Exponential Organizations by Ismail Salim. That book was so good. I mean, when I found it, I bought the book, but I also saw this slide presentation that they had on their website. And it talked about how software was eating the world. And I was sitting at a restaurant with a friend of mine, and I was sharing all of this that I found with him. And he works as a programmer. And we were amazed about all this and all this that was coming, that was on the way. And now it makes even more sense. We have all these apps everywhere, and even the platforms, right? And it's so important in our lives. Uh, yeah. So that was another thing. Well, here I added some information about Singularity University, right, and the website. And so it says Singularity University is a global learning and innovation community using exponential technologies to tackle the world's biggest challenges and build a better future for all. Our collaborative platform empowers individuals and organizations across the globe to learn, connect, and innovate breakthrough solutions using accelerating technologies like artificial intelligence, robotics, and digital biology. We offer educational programs, courses, and summits, enterprise strategy, leadership, and innovation programs to support and scale startups and promote social impact and online news and content. The S2 community includes entrepreneurs, corporations, global nonprofits, governments, investors, and academic institutions in more than 127 countries. With over 5,000 impact initiatives, our community is driving positive change in the areas of health, environment, security, education, energy, food, prosperity, water, space, disaster resilience, shelter, and governance. They do a lot. Let's see. Well, the team at Singularity University. This is very important as well. Peter Diamandis recognized the need for leaders to understand the exponential pace of change. He first proposed the concept of Singularity University to Ray Kurzweil and to International Space University, ISU, colleagues Dr. Robert D. Richards and Michael Simpson, who became founding trustees in mid-2007. Susan Fonseca, a founding architect, was instrumental in organizing and executing the founding conference in September 2008 and finding initial donors. At the first meeting of the Board of Trustees, Salim Ismail was appointed as founding executive director. Now, I'm a fan of Ray Kurzweil, by the way. I love his books. His books are very good. He's a futurist, very important futurist. And I really recommend his videos on YouTube. Copenhagen Business School. That also was part of my journey. I was sitting at home, restless, and then all of a sudden I logged into Coursera and I found this course on social entrepreneurship. And so I joined. The course had already started. And I jumped in, and they were looking for people for two projects. So I joined two social entrepreneurship projects. And one of them was working on the gender gap. And that's where I started doing my research. And that's where I learned that all these big companies were spending billions of dollars trying to solve the gender gap. And I already had the exponential mindset. So I was looking at things from a very different point of view. And I also understood that I would solve the problem in a different way. And then I started getting into the research more and more. And then I had my own experience. I was looking for a job. And well, I was facing all these problems. I knew, from real experience, what was going on, what was wrong, and how it felt for me from my point of view. And so all these things were connected, right? And well, that was a good experience. And that's where the interest really got. It really got into me. And it stayed with me. It really stayed. It stuck. And well, the gender gap is a global challenge. And yeah, we have to solve it. We really do. And I understood that even though companies were making progress, by teaching people online courses and things like that, that the pace of exponential technologies was moving too fast, and there was going to be an impact. And they were not going to be able to solve it on time. So these were insights that I had, which was another reason why I understood that I had to do something about it. The next step, I got enrolled in this, technology entrepreneurship course by Stanford University. And I did my business plan there. And that's where I applied what I learned from exponential organizations and my vision. And then approximately, no, I think it was after that, I was at a meetup for business owners, and they presented us with the opportunity to visit Almi, which is an innovation company here in Sweden that helps entrepreneurs and even innovators. And so we had this free meeting where we got advice on, how we could start a company if we were interested in doing so, and that we could have a free meeting after that meeting, a personal one-to-one meeting. And yeah, that was another step. And so I booked a meeting actually with Almi, and I presented my business idea, and they said, yeah, start your business. I mean, what can you lose? And yeah, it was true. I didn't have anything to lose. And you know, I just took the risk. And so I started my business to fight the gender gap and the knowledge gap. And I started with the robotics workshops, and I did more research. Then I was invited to work with some projects from the Mars Society. It had to do with design and some other things. And that's where my interest grew. And I discovered something, flow. I was working with these space projects. And then I had this, like acceleration of thoughts, and this together with a feeling of excitement. And I came up with the idea of MSA, which is my startup. It's called Multiplanetary Space Exploration and Innovation. And but I understood, about my passion for space. That really started when I was a kid and I was reading books written by Carl Sagan, and science fiction books by Asika, Isaac Asimov. I don't know how you pronounce them. And well, I added space challenges to my business. So that became the third challenge. Well, here I added some things about the Mars Society. Uh, well, the Mars Society is an American worldwide volunteer-driven space advocacy nonprofit organization dedicated to promoting the human exploration and settlement of the planet Mars, inspired by the Case for Mars conferences, which were hosted by the Mars Underground at the University of Colorado Boulder. The Mars Society was established by Dr. Robert Zubrin and others in 1998 with the goal of educating the public, the media, and government on the benefits of exploring Mars, the importance of planning for a human to Mars mission in the coming decades, and the need to create a permanent human presence on the red planet. Well, the Mars Society, they are doing a lot. They have been working for years uh, with different projects, innovation projects. And Dr. Robert Zubrin has worked a lot. He has written a lot of books, for example. Let's see here. Here's a little bit about Dr. Zubrin. This is from Wikipedia. He's an American aerospace engineer and author, best known for his advocacy of human exploration of Mars. He and his colleague at Martin Marietta, David Baker, were the driving force behind Mars Direct, a proposal in a 1990 research paper intended to produce significant reductions in the cost and complexity. Here I don't see because of the window of such a mission. The key idea was to use the Martian atmosphere to produce oxygen, water, and rocket propellant for the surface stay and return journey. A modified version of the plan was subsequently adopted by NASA as their design reference mission. He questions the delay and cost to benefit ratio of first establishing a base or outpost on an asteroid or another Apollo program like return to the moon, as neither would be able to provide all of its own oxygen, water, or energy. These resources are producible on Mars, and he expects people would be there thereafter. Um, by the way, there's the 23rd annual International Mars Society convention going on from today until the 18th online, and it's free. So please hop in, register, and start interacting with the people, get your questions answered. And 12. These are some of the books by Dr. Zubrin. The Case for Mars, The Case for Space. This is the latest one. I really recommend it. Mars Direct, How to Live on Mars. More books by Dr. Robert Zubrin, Entering Space, Mars on Earth. Let me see, just a second. The Moon Society. Okay, I'm also working with space projects together with the Moon Society. And I'm one of the editors of the Pioneer's Guide to Living on Mars, written by Peter Koch. I've helped with the transcripts of the videos from the Moon Society's convention as well. Let's see. Another thing before we continue with space is that one thing that really turned my life around was Jack Canfield and his book, The Success Principles. I joined the Jack Canfield community on Facebook, and I went through more than a year's learning process there, where we had tasks that we had to do, and put these success principles in action. And we also had to make a compromise with the rest of the community that we were actually doing it. We were taking action, because that's another thing about becoming successful. You have to take action. It's not just about reading books and talking. You also have to do it. You have to do the work. And so that I learned a lot from this, and that shaped my mindset. So once again, we are back to what I said, the mindset. And when I learned to create vision boards about my goals, and it's good, when you create these vision boards with pictures about your dreams, about things you want to accomplish in your life. And it can be a certificate, something that you want to buy, things that you want to accomplish that are important for you. And then it's good if you look at this vision board every day, to remind yourself, to keep yourself focused. Okay, now more about the Moon Society. Here we have the YouTube channel and the websites. And I really recommend you to visit the YouTube channel and listen to all the videos there that talk about the moon. The Moon Society is a community composed of individuals, organizations, and companies committed to the permanent settlement of the moon and building a thriving cislunar economy. We are especially interested in commercial lunar development projects and are actively working to foster a social and political environment where such projects can thrive and be successful. There's a big team there, but the main people are, Michael Mealing, which is the president, and the vice president is James Burke, which also happens to be involved with the Mars Society. Some key points about the Moon Society: they held the LDC back in July as a 100% virtual event. It was a success, and the proceedings are coming out on Amazon next week. And they will do it again, also virtual, next July 2021. They also have the moon-based design contest, which is a cash prize, and it's due on January 31st, 2021. You can find more information about this on their website. Here's the little picture there. And more about the author of the book. Let's see. Hold on a second. Pioneer's Guide to Living on the Moon. He also wrote A Pioneer's Guide to Living on Mars. He is the recipient of the NSS Gerard K. O'Neill Memorial Award for Space Settlement Advocacy and has been publisher and editor of the Moon Miners Manifesto from 1986 to 2017, 31 years, and is president emeritus of the Moon Society. Here are his books. You can find them on Amazon, by the way. And then let's see. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. So my vision grew with all this, everything that I learned and what I did. And I was recently invited to start a social enterprise to fight COVID-19 or become a mentor for COVID-wise. And it has to do with Copenhagen Business School. And so I said yes to become a mentor. And so I sent my application and it went through and I registered my profile and now I'm waiting for the matching process and it fits. It really does because in my MTP I have that I work with global grand challenges and COVID is huge now and it's causing so much problems. And it's also a social problem. And it's the beginning of my journey. So now it's like my journey did a little circle. It started with social entrepreneurship, and now it's back to social entrepreneurship. And it's like an iterative process, innovation, and it all makes sense. So now I'm taking everything that I learned and I'm going to help others to build resilient social enterprises to fight COVID and get it out of the way because we need this, we need to get rid of this. And I see that there's a division in the world now, some leaders on one side and the scientific community on the other. And that's not good. We have to work together to make things happen. And yeah, so that's where I am. And I also met a doctor that works for WHO, and I have to get back to him. We have an upcoming meeting. It's a scientist. So yeah, let's see what happens there. It's very exciting. And here are my contact details. There. I have two numbers that you can reach me at. And so now I give
Thank you.
the talk to you.
Thank you, Veronica, for a good lecture. Very interesting about your journey.
Thank you.
Thank you. So do we have any questions? We should have. No questions right away, but I have a question. uh, when do you think we're gonna be on March? Do you think?
Mars.
Yeah, Mars.
Oh, well.
When do
Uh,
you think we?
well, I personally think that we're going to be there earlier than expected. You know,
Yeah. What?
you can find more information about all this on the Mars Society's website.
Yes.
And if you go to the convention now, that is already starting today. So if you go to the Mars Society's website and you register for the convention, which is free, you will listen to everything that is happening about Mars. And there are people from NASA that will be speaking. Peter Diamantis is there. There are a lot of very important people, and I can tell you there is a lot of energy, a lot of positive energy,
Yeah.
and I really recommend it.
Yeah. Okay. Have any other question? So,
I forgot to mention, you know, I got interviewed together with another person from the Moon Society, Ben Smith, and I mean, we got interviewed by a company um, that will be publishing an e-zine in some weeks about this. And they're working with the moon. Everything has to do with the moon. And it's a very interesting interview. And it was 1 hour long. And we had all kinds of questions about the moon. And it's very interesting. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
yeah. So, yeah. Do you have any? Uh, is this the convention? We have a question from Lennart Sund. Is this the convention? Uh, I don't know if you see that marssociety.org conventions slash 2020.
It's the 23rd annual International Mars Society Convention. If you go to the Mars Society's website, you will find it, but you will also find it on LinkedIn.
Okay.
Okay, because there's a lot of ads, there,
Yeah.
and it starts today, and people are already there interacting with each other. So there's a lot of movement, and it started some days ago, actually. So there's a lot of excitement, and you will learn a lot. But what's most important of all is that you will have the opportunity to ask questions, to interact with everybody. And who knows, maybe even find partners, strategic collaborators. I don't know.
Mm, interesting. Interesting. Yeah. Do we have any other questions for Veronica?
Yeah, there's somebody else there, I think. Well,
No. But your plan, what do you think you are in, like you are have traveling since you was in many years and studying and have your vision and things. What do you think you're gonna be in 2, 3 years from now?
well, exponential technologies are very special. It's a different animal, you might say. These technologies, the computer power, you might say, it keeps doubling every like 12 months, 12 or 14 months. So the speed keeps getting faster and faster all the time, and the technologies get cheaper and cheaper. So in 2 or 3 years, I think we will have more startups. We will have more breakthroughs. There are already breakthroughs regarding health that have to do with longevity. So this will all come together. And then we have the moon settlement and the Mars settlement, right, on the way. And I think part of us is going to be in on the moon. The rest is going to be on Mars, and the rest is going to be here. And we're going to be working remotely, like we're doing now because of COVID.
Yeah.
But this is going to be our life. It's
Yeah.
going to continue like this, and it's going to get even bigger. So
Yeah.
remote work is here to stay.
Yeah.
And I think that when these innovations come together, it's going to create a great impact. And regarding the gender gap, I see that there are more CEOs in these 500 companies, for example, and I see that there is more inclusion even in the space industry, and so it's looking good.
Mhm.
It's looking good. I think that then there's this TV program called Away, and then there's the company Space Perspective that has this balloon that is sending people. It's just amazing. I should have added this website address, Space Perspective. Check it out. Uh, so we are getting there. We
Yeah.
are getting there sooner than we think.
Yeah. And you have a very good homepage too, your web address.
Thank you.
It's good.
Thank you.
It's something to look at for everyone. So
Thanks.
yeah. So I will thank you very much, Veronica, for to be with us in this TreTårsfika, and
Okay.
our special lecturer who is coming towards the TreTårsfika, and we want to give us a special key, the key to success, and
Okay.
and it is a forging product from the smithy with ancestry from the 1700s.
Oh, okay.
So in the North Hälsingland. So
Oh, wow.
and so it's numbered, special for you. You have a number here, so
Oh, wow.
we'll send it for you.
Oh, thank
And
you.
that's
Thank you.
it's a
I
local
I will
community.
I will add the link to the Mars Convention
Yeah,
and or the link to the ad on LinkedIn.
yeah,
I will send it to you
yeah. Great.
on LinkedIn. I will
Yeah,
send. I will add it below my ad. The TreTårsfika ad.
yes,
I will add it there as a comment. The link to the convention.
great.
Okay, and I will also add the link to Space Perspective, this company.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you
Matt,
for that.
and thank you, everybody
And
else.
thank you very much for the lecture today.
Thanks, and thank you for
Yeah,
the key.
and
And
thank you
I
for
wish you a nice
very
day.
interesting lecture.
Bye.
Yeah, and I was just like to end the TreTårsfika with att nästa TreTårsfika har vi PVC som kommer på besök den 5 november klockan 15:00. Så då är ni så välkomna då. Och
Okay.
so and this.
Okay.
So, thank you very much and
Thank you.
take more
Tack så
coffee now.
mycket för alla. Hej
Ja,
då.
hej då. Tack så mycket. Hej
Hej.
då. Hej hej.